I find this topic actually quite hard to prepare, ups and downs. You know, usually people invite us to talk about ups. We are not used to talk about downs, and also I think it's a cultural issue in our country as well. We're all proud with success. I said how I should approach this. I'm going to go through with some photographs with, you know, my last 32 years, and all in PwC, just one company. And if I really gone through all those slides, I divide 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s. I guess from those pictures, I can share you some of my, you know, memories, huh? And together we can go through. This picture, actually, I choose it, there is a reason, but I think you will find that at the end of the presentation, why I pick up this picture. Not that I was younger there or different hairstyle, but there is a reason for that. Okay, who I am? I love social media. You can click and find me, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, so-so, because, you know, I like to share my ideas more with my friends. I'm not really like that, you know, I'm putting my opinion on Twitter on certain things, but I share, I think more than tweeting, I retweet basically the things that I like. But probably when you open the LinkedIn, you see me more boring stuff, auditing, IFRS, US GAAP, internal controls, and tell you the truth, every time people, you know, when you open LinkedIn, push you to, you know, confirm certain skill set, people obviously, you know, click on those. And I look at, I said, it is such a, you know, boring but lovely career, 32 years. Why I say it is boring? Because actually, I don't think many people know, but I had a degree of marketing, not accounting and finance. But I end up myself PwC, and as you can imagine, I love it because 32 years. I didn't look for any other job last 32 years. Why this happened? Maybe it is one of the very down point in my life, because I had a huge dream when I was at high school that, you know, have the best marketing degree possible. And that's reason I choose Istanbul University Business Administration, because Mehmet Uluç was a brilliant marketing professor, and it was my first choice. And when result come, we were in Black Sea, and my family from Black Sea, everybody said, such a bright girl, wasted, you know, her wonderful exams, she should be doctor, even, you know, pharmacists, because they value more. But I'm talking about 1976, probably you can imagine. Anyway, why it is down point? When my third year, I was very successful marketing students. They sent me to traineeship program to Roche University. And then I was shocked, but I'm talking 1979. It is just comparing budget figures with actuals. That's what they call sales and marketing. I said, it's not for me, because I was thinking, creating ideas, things like that. And then I thought about a bit advertising agencies, but then PwC find me. That was PW that time, no merger. And it took 3 interviews to convince me, because twice I said no. I don't want to be accountant with all those, you know, black, remember the early 1980s. But they said, no, this is an international company and it's a wonderful thing. Yes, it was wonderful. And immediately in 1983, they sent me Copenhagen. And it was one of the big shock, I must admit, because 1983, think about it, you are very young, but you can ask your mom and dad. In Turkey, you know, you think that Europe is wow. You know, the woman and everything. You know, my first shock when I went to PW Copenhagen office, that time it was tiny office, 110 people, only secretaries women, and there were only 2 women in audit department. And you can imagine when I went to client, auditor from Turkey, black hair and darker skin, you know, And you know, first month I couldn't eat lunch at the canteens because everybody looking at me, where she comes from, and especially when they find I am auditor. Therefore, I think we shouldn't underestimate women's what we are achieving in Turkey. I mean, I experienced this in 1983. And 1989, when I was in London, actually, I was only senior manager in my group because London is a huge, but every group is like size of one big offices in European countries. Therefore, I think I'm not going on those lines, but as a woman in young age, I had a wonderful experience. I was well known in the network because everybody remembered me because I am a woman, not woman, Turkish woman, because they had a very different ideas about Turkish women. I remember in Copenhagen, my landlord couldn't believe that, age 23, Turkish father sent young girl to live alone in Denmark. Every week we meet, he asked me that. Anyway, these are, of course, the branding issue as well. In 1990, probably one of the top up point of my life, I became a partner in PwC, and it was very young age, and when I joined the wonderful location at Cannes, we were only 2 partners, 2 women out of 110 admitted that year, and people were again shocked. Somebody from Turkey, and more shocked, I was the first Turkish partner in the network, and first Turkish partner happened to be a woman. And you can imagine, I mean, it's... Anyway, but my shock was more, first coffee break is a wonderful Cannes. All the ladies there, they were enjoying time, and at that time, actually, I thought about it, maybe I should be a wife or partner rather than partner, because we were in a meeting rooms and they were just enjoying their life. I think during my career, I had those moments time to time, as a woman, of course, you know, we are women, although business women. 2000, I mean, I will just mention, because when I was taking, you know, this photograph, February 1st, 2000, my son born, February 1st, 1999. Therefore, I missed my son's first birthday. I was in Davos, but with a very good reason. That night, I was taking from Klaus Schwab that I named global leader for tomorrow in 2000. And I can tell you that changed my life. And you will see in my CV, I mean, when I've gone through my life, I am very active in NGO. I love, whenever I feel gap, I like to fill it, but I think that comes from my early days from Davos, because they give you a huge understanding and awareness of, you know, you can change the world. And you are not just a drop in the world. If you are passionate, you can do it. And I think some of those drawings probably you see. I should explain why I use those drawings. They are actually drawn when I was giving natural speech in one of the PwC events. It was a leadership program. A German artist, and then he put it everything, all my speech in a lovely drawings, and I keep them and still and use time to time, because I think he picked up actually the very nice words. I cannot pick up those words again. It happened to I used those words that day. For example, when people ask me how you feel Davos, I said the world is small. I felt everything in my hand, and you know, leading change, just taking action. I think this is very important. Therefore, for your career, for your country, I think taking action is the key word. Very quickly, 2000, I mean, 1998, 2012, such a long time I was leading Turkish practice. I stepped down last December, and now Haluk is the partner that I worked 25 years. Now he is leading the practice, and I'm very happily transferring to him. I serve 2 boards in PwC, CE, and I can tell you that those years I was the only woman in that board. And you can imagine Russian crisis and everything, and also I really experienced development of Central and Eastern Europe, and it was a wonderful experience for me. And many nights, I must admit, I felt so lonely because you go and then, you know, all dining, whining, and being only woman. But I enjoyed it. Time to time, I get bored, I must admit, because some of the topics were, you know, probably not the most attractive ones when they talk at social events, but you get used to it. Eurofirm boards, first 2 years, we were 2 women, and then she retired. I continue again alone, but it was a very interesting experience for me. Actually, serving at European level board, I'm not surprised at all what we are experiencing in Europe now, because France, Germany, and Britain, they can't agree, you know. I experienced this in PwC as well, because I think global organizations very much reflection, mirror of what we are facing now. Therefore, I think I love spending 32 years in such an organization. I have a huge awareness what is going on in the world. But I think I was very appreciated in 1990s working in a global organization, because many of you will remember 1990s for dead years for Turkey. And I was at the board, you can imagine, at CE. I see how the world is around us changing, but Turkey is not doing anything. It was so painful. I cannot explain you. And I was even talking with clients and, you know, NGOs that, you know, what is happening around us, all those privatization working and nothing happening. It was very painful, I must admit. If anybody asks me what was the most painful experience last 32 years, I will say 1990s as experience because of my profession and everything. Anyway, you will see I do quite a lot of NGO work, and I love it. And I'm very proud of founding member of Endeavor. And Endeavor founder in the world actually happened to be my global leader friend from Davos. We were at the same year, and I can tell you, first 2 years I couldn't understand what Endeavor is, because you can imagine in Turkey, entrepreneur association, helping entrepreneurs is quite new. We have a short memory, but I know 2000s, we didn't have such a thing. Therefore, I heard that there are many entrepreneurs in the room as well. I think you are very lucky. And there are lots of support mechanisms now. And don't hesitate if you need any help. I'm sure you will find somebody help you. All the photographs, you know, but what I love most, I like to tell you, when we get together with our alumni, because since 1981, we created more than 3,000 wonderful top talent in PwC. Every year when we have annual meetings, I love it to meet all of them, because I know when they graduate, when they join PwC, when they left, doing many counseling with them, seeing their success and unsuccess. And also it's lovely things to, you know, get prizes, gifts, and also lovely things to give them, because when you are a leader, you praise people, therefore you see all kinds of photographs there. Of course, my son and my husband in the 2 corners. With all these things, I think we should remember, because I'm addressing to women, usually I don't, but I think as a woman, we have lots of good attributes for the future style of leaders, because the world is changing. I think especially young women, you are very lucky than us. I'm not saying that, you know, we did, in my case, I didn't do extremely different. I did naturally what I did. But nowadays, I think, especially in boardrooms, businesses are looking for very different styles. It's not a man's style of leadership. And I try to list some of those. Good listeners, I think women are. Men are, they have sometimes very fixed mind, you know. For example, let me share with you my experience serving with men in the same boards. They usually, you know, prepare and they join the meeting with a decision. And for them, gain or lose, I prepare as well, but I join the meeting to listen others and to make a best decision for the firm or organization. But the men's, it's for them. I'm not saying for everybody, but most of the men's, it's a common style that if their idea is not accepted, they lost. And they get demotivated. I don't. This is a great asset. I am sure you all like that as well. Therefore, you should be proud. And, you know, we are sensitive environment and family. I think this is the greatest asset for the future as well. If I really summarize simple formulas for success, I put the heart at that because I think appreciate things with heart for a leader is the most important things. Many leaders, I'm not saying men or women, but they just play a role that they appreciate because they think their role is appreciated. Last 32 years, I have some stuff, you know, my colleagues here as well. I never play such a role. If I appreciate people, I really appreciate with my heart. And I think many of us do that as well. Therefore, I think if I want to leave you one thought for formula of success, probably I will put this last one to the top, okay? But of course, value to give it to others is very important things. And I think naturally women does because, you know, the children and everything. And also, you know, support of the people who can highlight and push you at, I think it's also very important things you'll see on the slide. My successful leader's definition from my speech 2001, I have to remember again. Good leaders, these are my words from that speech, to notice people. I think it's very important. People love to be noticed, and many of us don't do that, okay? And women, I think, especially do. And to fire unsuccessful people, I can tell you, I did many people, I asked them to leave. But it is not that you ask them to leave, how you deliver that message. Actually, I was very proud of those decisions because I make those people very early in their career to make the right changes, not use them. And then they find that they have nothing to go up because we need them for temporarily. I haven't done that in my job. Therefore, it's very important for good leaders to give the bad message as well. That's probably I like to say there. I mean, many of the things you see, but I think another very important thing is also, of course, the inspiring. But inspiring is very difficult to, you know, put in a definition. But I think it's quite a vital if you want to be leader. You have to inspire people. Because just technically good is not enough. You can be manager. If you are going to be leader, you have to inspire. Therefore, if you think you have a gap there, try to find some people help you and, you know, programs and everything. And difficult to be a good leader, I will still say that. And I think human art is very, there is no such a formula, but it is kind of combination of many things. Why this photograph was there? First, I like to think about, do you think you are at the top? And top doesn't mean title, by the way, for me. Top means what feel you, how you feel it. Do you know, feel that you are serving the purposes? Therefore, don't think the title. I never thought, but titles came with it. But I haven't worked any period in my life for any title. I'm very honest, I haven't. Also, whenever you are, never think that you reach. And I don't like it. And especially in my organization, I saw that people become a partner, they think they reach the top. When I become a first partner, one of the senior partners told me that, I mean, great leader, you will see you are only the first step. I said, my God. You know, we all think that become a partner in a professional services firm, you are at the top. Therefore, don't limit yourself. Many people limit their capacity. Anyway, what is the magic behind it? I have a magic. This photograph was taken for a promotion of our big recruitment campaign, and they want me to the same level of photographs. I'm short, And those days we didn't have, today is now very big high heel shoes, we didn't. And this was the magic. Therefore, you know, you can have a support to go to top. Therefore, it's really entirely up to you. Thank you very much.